Video is going to talk about how to use a paired preference assessment to determine what your kid, student, child is willing to work for. So as you can see on the right, there's a list of 10 items. So at that time, you would just go through maybe 10 items that you might see your child wanting to work for. So on number 1, right, I would list perhaps hot tamales. Okay, and so then number 2, something that other would work for is basketball time. Maybe 3 would be a granola bar. Okay, number 4 would be let's say video game time. So then you would keep going through and you would write down a list of 10 items. Okay, and then you would see on the left here, right, these are presentations. So once you have your 10 items listed, things that your student or child might be willing to work for, another thing like we could do YouTube videos, right? You would go over here and then you would have these trials. So you would say to your student, would you rather have hot tamales or basketball time? And so you're pairing choice 1 versus choice 2, hot tamales versus basketball time. So then they would choose, you would then put down what they chose. So let's say the child chose number 2. Okay. Then you would offer the choices between would you rather have choice item 1 or 3, so hot tamales or a granola bar. Okay, so maybe they would choose 3. Then you would do the presentation again. Would you rather have hot tamales or video game time? And then they would put, your answer down. They would say video game time. So you would put 4. And you don't have to do it in this particular order. It's just the way it's organized. You can jump around, but you want to make sure that if you say, okay, would you rather have 2 versus 3, basketball time versus a granola bar, you put their response in that correct space, that respective space for that particular pairing. So if you ask your child, would you rather have basketball time or a granola bar, and they choose basketball time, then you would want to make sure you find that correct square and put a 2. Okay? So you would go through all of your items, have all the pairings. You don't have to do it in a particular order. You can jump around, and jumping around to probably make it a much more valid answer or hierarchy. So then once you come down here, you would then basically count how many times a particular item was chosen. Okay, so you have your 10 items from above, and you would go through. So let's say here we have 2 was chosen twice, right, so far. So you would go down here and you would put 2 chosen twice. All right, you go back up, you see 3 was chosen once, you put it here, you go back up, you see 4 was chosen once, you go to item 4. For some reason, item 4 has been deleted, so we'll put 4 and go down and put 1. And then as you add them up, you will see which item is the most preferred in terms of reinforcement or reward. And you would know that those items should be used for more difficult tasks, and the items that are not preferred or less preferred might not be actually rewarding or reinforcing for work, or that maybe you could use them to reinforce easy tasks, right? So then you would know what items are more preferred. And that's how you would use a paired preference assessment. A paired preference assessment should probably be completed at least once a week if you really want to have good, strong reinforcers to use with your child. So this would be an appropriate tool to use if you have a student who is very difficult to motivate or very difficult to bring to the table to do any work at all, and that you really need to know what a strong reinforcer is when you work with your child or your student. And that's how you'd use a paired preference assessment.